Hey guys, Rob from RS and welcome back. And this week we've got something a little bit special for you. As you know, we're all about accurate replica movie props. Ideally made from production made original pieces. For RS, this all started with Simon's original Stormtrooper. And today we have his original helmet here in the studio so we can look over some of the details and build some replicas. This is the daddy of all our replica Stormtrooper helmets. We're going to use the same green plastic and talk about why we love the defects and why they are important to us. Joining me today is a guy who's built some really nice helmets, and you can see them on his channel. It's called Cable Guy Dan. We've been friends online for a while now, but this is the first time I'm actually meeting him for real. So please sit back and enjoy two geeks comparing helmets for your pleasure. Can't talk about the green helmets without looking at the original one, so I thought I'd bring that to show you.
Wow. Yeah, okay. It's like Christmas morning, isn't it? Yeah, okay, that's... I'll just have a back catalogue of words for a second while I think of what I'm actually going to say. Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? I can just feel under there as well, of course, just how flexible the plastic is.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. A beaut. For sure. Yeah, I don't know what to say. That's obviously you build a few. You make it try and look like the original ones if you can, and then you're actually sitting there holding one that's been on set. Yeah.
If you look how much of the texture is in the plastic,
Yeah.
then it's not in the paint.
Mm.
I mean, the paint's got runs in it, and we know it's thick and it's not applied particularly brilliantly. But it's not all the paint where the texture and all the deformities come from. It's right in there.
It's all of that. I think many of us would have assumed is just spray paint. When you see, your kits that you're putting out and you see the lumps and bumps and you think, oh yeah, that must have been just paint. But as you say, that's obviously notorious, isn't it? The little bump.
Yeah, we went out of our way to not clean up the mold. That's the last thing we wanted to do. We wanted to recreate exactly how it was vac formed.
Yeah, impressive. There's literally just little bits and bobs everywhere, aren't there?
Yeah, all over the place.
It's just full of charm.
But you don't notice it on screen, and that's the thing. It was a movie prop.
Yeah.
To be seen on camera from a distance, and it fits the brief perfectly.
Yeah.
But when you see it, that's the fascinating thing for me. These are all the details that I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous how bad they were, really.
Yeah. That's what you and I love about them. I now love that the rubber trim is it's cracked. It's deteriorated.
That is the original trim, that.
Well, that's it. I'm now upset that when I make them, they don't look 40 years old. Oh, beautiful. So how long did it get over before you were just staring at this?
It's still not old now.
No, good. Okay.
I still enjoy looking at it.
Yeah.
And there are certain things as well, once you've handled this, and it's difficult to try and explain it sometimes, but there are things that when people will get one of our helmets, they'll talk about some of the imperfections as though they're not right, like how thin it is where the mic tips
go in. Yeah.
But this is you're drawing plastic from that area into there, so it's going to get thin. That's how they are. But when you've handled this, you're just like, oh yeah, that's thin there. That's how it is. I like how it's trimmed out as well.
Yeah, I must say that's when I was building my sort of replica, trying to follow this exact helmet, even areas like that where the teeth flare out. You know, again,
We've
I
took
know
the
that
little
wasn't
nicks out and stuff.
intentional. Yeah, it wasn't intentional, but you know, it's not parallel.
Hmm.
It's at a funny angle, and that's just the charm of them, isn't it? I do
And,
appreciate, you
and
know, perfect ones, but
each
for
one's
me, this is
different.
perfect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The eyes as well. How much they would have been trimmed out on each one. Yeah.
And obviously there's the detail in the trap there,
Yeah.
which we purposely kept in
Okay.
up until us doing our helmet.
Mm.
There were a couple of original helmets that had been cast, but they'd taken some details out. That was one of the details.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
But you see that in, I mean, you see it so clear on this material because the way it back forms, it picks everything up. And that's another slight difference with the, versus the ABS one.
Okay.
The amount of detail. If you look at the concept drawings, you can actually see kind of
Oh.
this detail, and it's almost as if they were marking that to paint.
Is that
They're
actually?
obviously still playing with designs,
Yeah.
even at that stage. Yeah, it's good to see it.
Yeah.
You understand a lot more about them when you've been up close and personal with them.
Definitely. Yeah. It's in remarkably good condition as well, isn't it? Overall, there's a couple of tiny little splits, but it has actually held up well. Again, is that maybe because the plastic is
Yeah,
like flexibility, so it won't go brittle?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more hard wearing, isn't it?
Mm.
What do you think about the crushers?
Well, again, I understand why somebody might think it's
See,
broken, but that's just what it is, isn't it?
they're not really. It's not really holding its shape. It wants to go back into that shape. And it doesn't form. No matter what you do, I don't think they're crushers. You see those two marks?
Mm.
I'll show that to the camera. These two marks here. I think that's back formed in.
Okay.
That's just damage on the mould, and I know some other people say, but there's ones where it's not as bad as that, and where it's worse. And I think that's just the mould deteriorating
Right.
as they're going down the run of helmets. And again, that's something that we've learned from demoulding process of using this stuff.
Again, you literally, it's just history, isn't it? Oh, made my day.
Okay, so shall we have a go at building one?
Cool.
Right, I'll throw one together and then we'll see where we're at. See what you think. So,
Throw one together. It takes me ages to prepare myself for these things, and you're so used to it. You
And
can
this-
see even when you put it on the table, it just wobbled like jelly because it's so much more flexible, isn't it, than ABS?
yeah, you can't deform the ABS like that just to get in there and cut it off.
Yeah, ABS would have split by now, wouldn't it? As you're doing that, it would have cracked or.
But that's part of the reason why these are so fun. Right, so let's stick this one together and see what you think, and then maybe you want to have a little play, see what you think. So I pretty much use this technique for the ABS ones as well. I don't use a load of magnets and stuff.
Is it more your preference that you put the trim on whilst doing this, or just do you sort of get the feeling that's how they would have done it originally?
I don't
To
know.
try and get a nice tight fit.
It is nice to get that nice tight fit. I could build these all day long. I absolutely love them. So much fun.
Just even at this stage, they've just got a real charm, haven't they? Being in the original plastic type. Yeah, something so lovely about it.
So now we've got that pivot where we can, and when we've got one side in, we can still move the other side. And again, we've got, see how it's all deforming. It's just not like ABS. And there as well, pushing it in. So I'm using my finger in there to push that cheek bit. Right, so let's just have a look. I mean, the brow heights are a bit insane. Even on the move along one side's higher than the other.
Okay.
It's not perfectly round here, and that the one thing that I really hate is when I see someone doing a highbrow thing and they just cut.
Yeah, up and down like a camel's back.
Yeah, it's not that. It's you're losing the shape of it.
Yeah.
You need to create that, and it follows through in the dome.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a lot of it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm just going to try and force that together. In doing so, you kind of create a bit of a pinch here. But that, again, that's what we see on Simon's helmet. We're pretty much there. That's your... So that's our basic shape.
That would have been about 2-3 hours for me, just jiggling this, jiggling that, make sure it's...
I think they were super thrown together for the movie.
Yeah.
And that's nice. I kind of try and work to that, keep moving and keep putting them in, because you want that adds the character to it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Right, so I've trimmed some ears out previously. I have templates for these. Now, I usually use them as a starting point. So here I've got some little, so we've got it riding up high where we want it there. The back's quite nice. But things are going to happen here now. We've got this brow height set at this. Pull that off now. But depending how the ears go on, there is a lot of possibility that as we screw it on, we can bring that down.
Right.
And it's all affected by the ears, whether it's pushing, this bit in here or the back of it. It's because it's so flexible. And that's the fascinating thing. That's what I wanted you to. I wanted to see you doing it so I could look at it, because it's going to be fun. Right, so I'm looking at this. So I want to get it on. I can see that we've got a little bit too much here. I'm going to take that out. And then I've got some resistance there. So I want to take that out. But I kind of want to leave that bit in there. Could probably take a bit of the corner out and maybe a bit there. Right, I like all of this round the front. Sandpaper is our friend.
It is. Yeah.
Pretty much everything that we do here involves rubbing something.
That's what I've heard.
Usually quite vigorously.
Yeah.
So when did you start building helmets?
First one back in 2017.
2017.
Yeah, I have one from 2006 that I didn't build. I won't name where it came from. And it went yellow over the years. It was sort of 10 years old and it yellowed. So I was looking around for how to get it back to life, and I found the White Armour forum. And before you know it, I was then fully stripping that down, respraying it. And then after that, I spotted that you could get kits of these things. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll give that a go. And sort of one thing led to another, and just been getting more and more nerdy ever since. So the first one was sort of idealized, and everything was pristine and perfect. And now, literally, I'll put them together, and I'm getting bits of rubber door trim and scraping it on it to make it look worn out, making it look chipped, and putting imperfections purposefully into it to make it look like someone didn't care. But I do care. But yeah, that's what I love about them. You can either make it, perfect, or you can make it correct. You just show me one that is from the film, and they're not perfect. They are, slapdash.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice about them, because as you've said, they're all different. Even when you're making these, you've got a certain process you go through, but they're all going to end up slightly different, which gives them character.
So when you started on your journey, did you wanted it to look perfect?
Yeah, I think you.
Because I did. That
Yeah.
was the perception that you have is that it's made flawlessly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you think they're pure white. They're not pure white. if you look back at the films. I think probably a lot of us, because Stormtroopers were always my favourite character from Star Wars. I think when you're a kid, you look at the toys, and in your brain, you then think they're going to look like the toys, and the toys came out pristine. And that's probably where it sinks into your head that, yeah, they're white, they're perfect, they're spotless, they're mass-produced like a toy. But then again, when you sort of look at them, they're not. They were dirty. So
Yeah, the toys have got a lot to answer for, haven't they?
yeah, probably. Again, it's just what's in your head from being a kid, isn't it? I think that's
Yeah.
it. A lot of builds as well. You know, I understand following, guidelines and things. And if you do start looking into it, you're going to follow those guidelines. But I like to play with it a little bit now as well. Like if you look at most of the characters from the movies, obviously Sand Troopers were dirty. But then look at almost every other character in A New Hope. And if you're making a copy, most people will add a bit of weathering or make it look a little bit worn out. And I feel like that's sometimes forgotten with Stormtroopers. People think, oh no, they have to be shiny. But, if you're building C-3PO, look at him in the first film and he's covered in oil. And that's, again, what I like about them. They are a bit worn out because they're battle worn. That's how I like to think of them.
So it's an interesting journey because I started off wanting it to be really perfect. I mean, the first helmet that I built, I was so disappointed with how asymmetric it was. Thank you very much. Yeah, I really didn't like that. And then
Okay.
the cut in the rubber, I was putting that here so that it was much less noticeable.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
But then I completely evolved into the way that it should be. And if I see that now, I'm like, but I don't know if everybody does that. I don't know if everybody goes on that journey. I did, you did.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because when I have people ask for advice, I don't know if they ever will or if they'll just stick. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
It is all personal preference.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it is down to each person what they actually want out of it. Some people do want a idealized, pristine collection piece, whereas otherwise, for me, something like these are collection pieces. Because if you look at one that is put together as we like to do them, and then someone actually took that replica and put it next to something from on screen, it will look really close. Whereas if you do have the perfect ones, they look lovely. As I say, they look more like the toys, and they look like probably 99% of people think it would look, but it is just then a different beast.
I think if I built an exact replica of Simon's original one with those gaps on the ears and stuff, I think I'd get people complaining. I mean, we get people messaging us now saying it's all the crushes underneath and it's asymmetrical, and right, I quite like that. Do you want to have a play?
Sure.
I've got one that's trimmed out on the eyes and the teeth.
Yeah.
But like you were talking about the flexibility of it.
Yeah, it's insane.
You can do pretty much anything you want to it, and it's just going to bounce back.
Yeah, it feels just so different, doesn't it? It is the way that it will push and pull around. Yeah, you can tell it's literally not just a case of, okay, yeah, we'll just make a copy of this and that'll be fine. It's all the thought that's gone into it.
It's the advantages of having that, really, that you can spend time with it and look at it. I would never have worked it out from photographs.
Okay.
So compared to ABS, similar or a completely different beast?
Well, even just holding it, yeah, it's a totally different experience. This may sound silly, but you can feel the difference in cutting the plastic. Just the way it reacts. I don't use these. Should, but yeah, you can feel the difference in it. It's this will sound really weird. It's more like the cutters are chewing through it. Maybe just the texture of it. It's chewing through rather than almost snapping its way through.
Yeah. I think that's more not the tool, more to do with the this material.
Even that, resting on your legs, it keeps bending away. Trying to get a good angle on it.
Yeah, it's super soft, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Have you actually ever broken one? Can you actually crack this? Have you cracked
No,
one?
you can't crack it now.
No. Okay. Yes, again, with ABS, I would be petrified of trimming too far into here for it splitting.
Yeah.
And that's, again, even now, I know you said don't worry. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's just literally bent over, which allows you to get in there.
Yeah.
Again, that's an unusual feeling because, again, not really using this, you're nervous you're going to crack it, split it, and yet it's so flexible. Yeah, see that straight away. Again, if you had an ABS kit, the fact that just putting your fingers on there, everything wobbles, but it also you got to imagine that you've got the rivets in there to pull it apart, and how's that then going to sit in relation to the rest of it?
Yeah, it's until you get the rivets in the bottom, you're not. It's still not taut, so it's a little bit like a drum skin, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need that. You need all of them in there. You can see that.
Yeah, that doesn't want to go through, does it?
Yeah, it's almost the heat it's generating that's going through rather than the drill bit itself. You know, cutting the plastic. But yeah, it just resists being cut and being sanded and cracking. So when did you start on the YouTube stuff then? With the cable guy?
Yeah, blimey. That would be, I suppose, probably about 5 years ago, but not really with any intention of doing much. But I finished that, which I fully painted, and then I decided to do a little video just talking about it. And I think that was my first one.
Yeah.
And it is hilarious now to look back at it, because the phrase rabbit in headlights definitely... as well, it was before I'd invested in anything, so the camera was picking up red eye, so I look a bit like a demon, looking at the camera, very, very nervous, just talking about this helmet. And I think it just went from there, really.
We've got one side in.
Getting there, I got brave. I just thought in the end, I can't keep looking at it and keep wiggling it around. I'm just going to have to do it at some point.
So I don't know if you want to talk about it on camera or not, but how are you now?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been a challenging year. Battle with cancer, but currently doing well, doing very well. So I am all clear until they say otherwise. So take it 3 months at a time.
It came out of the blue, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where you seemed to be fine
Yeah. There was no
one day, and
we
then
found something. Let's have a look and see what it is. Yeah, it was. It was suspected heartburn, that then turned into a tumour on the heart, which is rather different.
yeah,
So yeah, it was 48 hours, and I'd already had the surgery to remove it. So I knew nothing about it. I was giddy on morphine, just it was mid-lockdown as well. So it was masks in hospitals and all sorts of stuff. It was
yeah. Family not being able to visit, more than likely.
yeah, actually, yeah. So, yeah, that was it's been a rough ride, but yeah, been looked after, which is nice.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of support from everywhere, which has been great. It does give you a different perspective on life. Just literally, I always thought, oh yeah, I'm one of these people who says, oh, just enjoy every day. But now I literally am one of those people that just has to enjoy every day, because yeah, you just don't know what's around the corner, so make the most of it.
That's really getting there.
It's coming on.
So how are you finding that compared to ABS then?
I think, yeah, if you were building like you are again and again, you would definitely, yeah, obviously helmet by helmet, you build up that confidence to manipulate it.
You've got this on here as well. You see how you've got that bulge.
Yeah.
And it's not something you tend to get with the ABS because it doesn't want to do that. That's nice and tight, isn't it?
That is.
Well, you must be happy with that.
I am really happy with that. I think Well, I'm infamous for talking about brow heights because I have spoken out on brow heights a few times. So for me,
So
that
is
is
this
a
how you
nice.
like it?
At least sort of 5 mil. See, I'd say you've done a pretty bang on job for that. I would actually really not. Oh, hello. Apart from that, there you go.
Yeah, they're usually pretty
I
good.
really wouldn't do a lot. Again, especially the fact that when you put the screws, well, the nuts and bolts in, it's going to pull it tight like this. So for me, that's pretty golden. Good
Well,
job, sir.
stick one on and have a stick one of the nuts through.
A question I meant to ask earlier is why do many of us think of this as HDPE rather than PP? And what's the difference, I suppose, to a degree?
When we were trying to buy it, we were trying to buy this colour of, and we were asking for HDPE because we knew no better. Anyway, we eventually dropped on a plastic distributor. I don't know if it was the actual company or if it was the rep who worked now at this company that we'd been in contact with. And he'd been responsible for supplying it. As we were speaking to this guy, we were saying we want HDPE and we want it in this kind of greeny colour. And I think by luck we fell on this guy, or we fell on a guy who said, "Oh, you need to speak to whatever the guy's name was, because they've had this long-running joke and he knows what the plastic is." And so anyway, he went away, he chatted to him, he came back to us and he said, "Right, it's this beige grey PP, polypropylene.
Right.
That's the stuff we want."
Wow, yeah. It's just really word of mouth then. At one point someone said HDPE and then lots of us, including myself, have gone, oh, they were made of HDPE.
Yeah, we still call it that.
Okay.
So, because it makes like people know what you're talking about then.
Fair enough. Well, maybe why you call them the green helmets now as well.
Yeah.
You said for this, you tend to go, because that's another thing. I've always found that sometimes it's hard to get, because you've got the curve on the inside of the cheek. By the time you put the hole through and you put the nut and bolt through, it kind of sits at a funny angle. So you actually drill through at an angle.
Go down at like almost 45 degrees to the, to the ear.
That way, or okay.
Yeah, down that way. So when you put it in, it anchors, pulls it down.
So more sort of like.
And you need it more so in this because it's got that
the flex
give in the material. Yeah.
I've never managed to get a helmet done in this amount of time before, because I'm faffing about. I think, like you said, actually, it's nice to just sort of get on and do it instead of thinking about it too much. I always think about it. And this one, actually, it's coming together better than I thought. And we've only been doing this for, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So, no, it's quite freeing, especially like you said, don't worry about it. I'm still a bit worried about it, but I'm now less worried about it than I was an hour ago. And it's really nice to sort of throw it together, and it is coming together. I'm really pleased with it. I'm really pleased with the alignment and stuff.
Yeah, you end up with that kind of organic feel to it as well.
There you go. Well, you've managed to build 4.
Well,
I'm very happy with 1.
I've only got 1.5 with the ears on.
Okay. It's interesting now, because now they're actually complete. It almost doesn't feel like the same plastic.
No, it's tough, isn't it?
It is actually really now quite solid.
The stressors hold it together, don't they?
Yeah, that's good. Again, the only really soft parts you get are down here.
And that changes again when the rubber goes on.
Oh, okay.
It'll that gives it even more strength. Well, I think that's amazing. Done
Beautiful.
A great job.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind.
And how do you find it then versus ABS?
I definitely see the benefits. Yeah, well, not only because it's just so much more authentic. I love that for a start. I just love holding a green helmet, knowing it's going to then have the spray paint on top. But I think, the fact it's got that flex when you're cutting into it just gives you that extra leeway and a bit more confidence to play around with it without thinking you're going to damage it. And then, like you've said in your videos before, pulling that right the way round, you really, pull it tight. And I think, it's really, really nice to work with. And again, it's more authentic, so it's kind of a win-win. Obviously, the only thing, if as a collection piece, absolutely amazing.
That's it. The negative is you can't really wear this for costuming or any of that kind of behaviour.
Yeah.
Because it's
it would
not
look right for the first day. but by the end of the first day,
That's
it
it.
will already be losing paint.
This stuff still doesn't want to hold paint. It's not really designed for that.
It's really nice to work with. It's just a lovely alternative, isn't it, to the standard ABS kits? They're still fantastic. They've got their place.
Oh yeah,
But then these are
for sure. We
really nice collection,
we
definitely.
do much more in ABS.
Yeah, yeah.
But when we get the opportunity and somebody wants this to put in a collection.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, love it. An external opinion for me, but yeah, it's definitely different to work with. A nice experience, and yeah, it's lovely to have the option to do both. You know, if you want an ABS kit that's hard wearing for trooping and things, fantastic. But as I say, if you want to do what they did, I think that's the joy of it for me. This is as close as we're going to get, apart from obviously picking up Simon's original helmet. This is as close as you're going to get to what they were doing back before they made the films. Actually making it like this, and then you've got the joy of actually learning how to spray paint it and things, which I know from experience is really fun, a bit daunting but fun. And then afterwards you end up obviously with a fully spray painted lid.
Yeah, which has got a different look to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Especially if you weather it a little bit as well, that really adds to the look once it's got the paint and then you weather that slightly. Yeah, it's a different feel.
Yeah, chip a little bit off here and there.
Exactly, yeah.
Thanks for taking the time out to make that journey and come and visit us.
No worries.
We always love people to come down and see the place and understand a little bit more about what we're about.
Yeah.
And the main reason I invited you was because you've got a real opinion that's worth giving on these. You know a lot about these helmets, and what you've been through and that, I thought it'd be great to get you down here and great to meet you.
Yeah.
We've been following the recovery.
Right. Yeah.
And it's great that you're looking so well and bouncing back.
Yeah. Don't set me off.
Well, no, it's good. It's good. Inspirational to all of us older guys. And
no, I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been amazing to come down and chat with all of you, look around the studio, which is superb. And yeah, just to get hands on and build some stuff is really nice as well. And I appreciate your kind thought on bringing me up. It's only 4 hours away. You know, what's 4 hours between friends? So no, really, honour to visit for sure.
No, it's been great. It's been absolutely fantastic. Thanks for coming.
No worries. Thank you very much.